Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Em, and today we're gonna do a video that I saw on Meg's channel. I'll link it down below, but she basically went through all of her 5-star reads for the year and did a bracket championship to figure out what her favorite read of 2023 is so far, and I thought that was a great idea. I always get to the end of the year and everyone is doing their favorite 10, top 15, whatever, top books they've read. And I just absolutely freeze with indecision every year, and I can never narrow it down. And so I thought this would be a really fun way to kind of figure out what my favorite book has been so far. Now, I've had 30 5-star reads for 2023, but a fair amount of those have been rereads. So I did not include my rereads in this bracket because honestly, I reread one of the Locked Tomb books every January. And if I included rereads, my favorite book would always be Gideon. I have my 16 5-star reads that are not rereads here. I tried to put them in similar categories to start off. Like I have the 2 romances together. I tried to put middle grade together, but then I kind of ran out of pairings at the end and it just ended up being random and what was left over. But I have no idea how this is gonna go. So let's go ahead and just get started. To start off with, I have Bitter Medicine by Mia Tsai and Strange Love by Anne Agar. I think that's Agar? Anyways, these are both romances. Bitter Medicine, gosh, let's see if I can remember, because some of these I read back in February or January. This is gonna be a struggle. Bitter Medicine is urban fantasy inspired by Chinese gods and goddesses. And the main character, she's the granddaughter of, I think, the Chinese god of medicine. And then I forget what the hero is, but I really loved that one. It had really great world building. I really liked all the characters. I really liked those two together as a couple. And then Strange Love is an alien romance between an alien and a human woman. And I really loved how creative that one was, especially with the aliens. Like, they are not humanoid in any way, shape, or form. And I really liked the creativity that Anne Agar put into that book of how would 2 people who are not biologically compatible like have a relationship and have a sexual component to the relationship. So I really liked that. I don't know, this is really hard. What was I thinking? I think I'm gonna move forward Bitter Medicine. Oh yeah, I'm gonna move forward Bitter Medicine because I really loved just the whole structure of that book. All right, and then next up we have 2 middle grade books. We have Evelise Explains It All and Wretched Water Park. Evelise Explains It All is told in journal entry, and it's about a girl who has a single mom, and her grandmother has just moved in with them and is dealing with dementia, and it's really emotional book, but it's really, I don't know, beautifully written. I thought the author captured Evelise's voice just perfectly. And then Wretched Water Park by Kirsten White is a middle grade mystery series about these 3 siblings who his parents have kind of abandoned them for the summer, and their aunt is left in charge with them, and then she takes them to this water park and basically drops them off for a week, but then things are not water parking. the way that they should, and the kids end up solving a mystery. And I think it's really fun, and it's really exciting and funny, and it's got a really good sense of the ridiculousness, kind of like a Lemony Snicket type of ridiculousness, but not as dark and sad as a series of unfortunate events is. So as much as I love Wretched Water Park, I think just in terms of writing and structure and impact, I have to move forward. Ava Lees Explains It All, just because I thought that book was so easily consumable. I mean, I finished both of those books really quickly. I think I read both. I think Ava Lees Explains It All I read in 2 sittings, and Wretched Water Park I read in one day, just broken up into a bunch of different sittings. Overall, Ava Lees is the one that I would recommend more broadly than Wretched Water Park. Next we have The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez and Tread of Angels by Rebecca Roanhorse. The Vanished Birds is a sci-fi book that starts off being told in vignettes and then eventually coalesces into a continuous story. But it's about this space captain who is put in charge of caring for this boy who crash lands on a planet, and the boy is nonverbal, and so she begins to take care of him and protect him from forces that want to manipulate him for a particular skill that he has. I don't want to give away any spoilers. That is another book where I cried so much at the end. it was so unique and beautiful and sad and hopeful, and I just loved it. And then Tread of Angels, I'm going to be honest. Okay, so it's a novella, and I love Rebecca Roanhorse, but I don't really remember what Tread of Angels is about. I remember that it's a murder mystery, and there's angels and demons and good and evil, but it has not stuck with me the way The Vanished Birds did. Like, I still very viscerally remember how I felt while I was reading Vanished Birds, and I think I have to just move ahead Vanished Birds because I just loved it so much. It's fantastic. And then next I have my 2 nonfiction books. I have The Facemaker by Lindsay Fitzharris, and this is history about a plastic surgeon who did facial reconstruction surgery on wounded soldiers during World War I, and how the practices that he developed and the techniques he developed during the war have impacted plastic surgery as a whole. And then the next one is Stolen Focus, book by Johann Hari, which is about how social media and the internet is stealing our ability to focus and what, if anything, we can do about that. Lindsay Fitzharris is one of my favorite history writers. Her first book, The Butchering Art, is absolutely one of my favorite nonfiction books. I love to recommend it. It's what got me hooked on medical nonfiction as a subgenre. But at the end of the day, Johann Hari's book, Stolen Focus, was so impactful for me. I started listening to it on audio and loved it so much on audio, and was tabbing so much in the library book that I had that I bought my own copy not even halfway through reading it, because I knew I was just going to absolutely love it. And I did. It's like still one of those nonfiction books that I continue to think about, and the ideas that he had in that book for how to help manage your social media intake, like I still try to implement those tactics. And I just think if you have any concern about how much of our attention Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube takes, I would highly recommend that book because it's nice to know that I like to know that I wasn't alone. Like Johann Hari is struggling with the same things I'm struggling with. And it's not self-help in that he doesn't have an answer for you. There's not one thing that's going to make it better, but he has ideas that he has tried, and some of them are from a really privileged place, but he acknowledges that. And it's just nice to feel some solidarity with how the internet's affecting us. So there's that. Okay. We're going to the other side. Now we have 2 middle grade books again. We have Every Bird a Prince, and I forgot who the author is on that one. And then The Vanderbeekers Ever After by Karina Young Glasser. So Every Bird a Prince is a standalone. Vanderbeekers Ever After is book 7 in the Vanderbeeker series and the end of the series. It's now a completed series. And Every Bird a Prince, I read that back in March, is about a girl who lives in a small town, and something about climate change maybe, or forest protection or animal protection. And there's this kingdom of birds that want her to help them fight back some sort of evil entity. And also she is realizing and coming out as being ace at the same time, which I loved because there's not a lot of ace representation in middle grade. Like as we get more coming out stories for middle grade, there's very few ace books. So I really loved that aspect. I felt like the author handled it really well. And then Vanderbeekers Ever Afters, we're just following Vanderbeekers again, except in this one of the Vanderbeekers gets sick and ends up in the hospital. And so it's pretty sad. There's the usual Vanderbeeker antics that the kids get up to. And arguably, this got 5 stars for the comfort and for the nostalgia. And you know how when you are that invested in a series, each book becomes a 5-star read. And that's kind of where I am now with the Vanderbeekers. Not to undermine Karina Young Glasser's talent. I think she's such a talented writer. So, I don't know. I think I have to go with my heart and I have to move ahead. The Vanderbeekers. I just love them so much. They're the sweetest literary family. Just the sweetest. All right, next we have 2 novellas. The Lies of the Ajungo. Do I remember what this is about? It's about a boy who lives in this city in the desert, and they always have a drought, and water is scarce all the time except for one time a year when water is brought in, and the people of the city are told that they don't have water because of this other city. And this boy lives with his mom, and his mom is dying. And so he goes to their city leaders and makes a deal with them that he will go and try and complete this seemingly impossible task. And in exchange, they will keep his mom alive. And if he completes the task, then I think he and his mom will be guaranteed enough water for the rest of their lives, I think. And so he goes out into the desert. And it's just 100 pages. It's excellently paced, beautifully told. And, sometimes you'll read a novella and you'll be like, oh, I feel like this could have been longer or this could have been shorter. Like, the writing is good and the plot is good, but just the length doesn't match. But I feel like The Lies of the Ajungo, it was a perfectly matched. Like, the story that the author had to tell was perfect for the amount of pages he told it in. The world building was really good. The sense of place was well done. I really like the journey this boy went on, even though it does get bleak. at times. I just thought it was such a strong, I think it's this author's debut, so it was such a strong debut. And then Mammoths at the Gate by Niveau is, of course, the 4th book in the Singing Hill cycle. And in this one, we're following Cleric Chi, like we always are. And Cleric Chi is returning back to Singing Hills and discovers that a mentor of theirs has passed away, and the mentor's grandchildren are at the gate demanding their body back. And so it's about grief and mourning and yeah. I think if you've read any of the Singing Hill Cycles books, you can feel really safe picking up Mammoths at the Gate. My cat is having lunch, so if you hear eating noises, that is her eating from her bowl. Anyways, okay, so now I have to pick. As much as I love Singing Hill Cycle and I feel a lot of comfort in reading Cleric Chi's story and what is going on, I'm going to move forward The Lies of the Ajungo because I thought it was a really strong debut, and I'm really curious to see what that author, he has a sequel that's going to come out for this, and I liked it. I just loved it so much. I should probably actually reread it. It's only 100 pages. It'd be an easy book to reread. I do mean to buy it. I'm kind of waiting for it to come out in paperback because it's hard for me to justify paying $22 for a 100-page book. But then again, I paid $20 for Mammoths at the Gate, and Mammoths at the Gate is $106, so I don't know if I can use that argument anymore. Man. All right, now we're at the part of the bracket where there wasn't any pairings that made sense. So they're just randomly thrown together. This will either make it harder or will make it easier. I have Spear by Nicola Griffiths. This is another novella that is a genderqueer King Arthur retelling, and it was so good. It was so good. It's by first Nicola Griffith, and I loved how she tackled King Arthur. I really love King Arthur adaptations, and I thought this one was really unique, and I just loved it so much. And then the next one is A Tempest at Sea by Sherry Thomas, and this is book something in the Lady Sherlock series, which is a gender-swapped Sherlock Holmes mystery series. And in this one, they are on a cruise ship, so it's a little bit of a locked room mystery, which I like. This is another one where this series now gets 5 stars just based on comfort and familiarity. Though, again, not to undermine Sherry Thomas's talent, she's an incredible writer. I think she does. Her character work is so good. These characters are so well done. There's so much depth. There's a lot of character growth in this series, which I really appreciate because there's other historical mystery series that have, a female lead and a strong romance plot throughout all of the books, but the characters don't grow or change, and that gets to be really frustrating once you're 5, 6, 7 books in. So I love that Sherry Thomas does have that evolution to her characters, and they're not stagnant through the whole series. Yeah, okay, I'm moving ahead. I'm moving ahead, Sherry Thomas. It's my favorite series. I feel like it's so underrated, and I think it's, as much as I love the Veronica Speedwell series, I think Lady Sherlock is better. It's there's a greater entry barrier, I think, just because she makes you work a little bit more than Deanna Raybourn does, but I think her character work and her mysteries are better than Deanna Raybourn's. Yeah. Okay. And then this next one's going to be easy. So first one is Unstoppable Us by, it's too small. I don't remember the author's name. But this is the author that wrote Sapiens, and he adapted Sapiens into a version for children. So this is illustrated nonfiction about early humans. I thought it was so well written. The author has a really lovely tone to his writing, and so it was funny and it was interesting, and it never felt dry or boring like sometimes kids nonfiction can feel. And I would readily recommend this for adult readers because I think you can get something out of it no matter what age of reader you are. And it was just absolutely fantastic and really a surprise. I randomly picked it up and was not expecting to love it as much as I did. And then it's unfortunately paired against The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty, who's one of my very favorite authors of all time. She is an auto-buy author for me, and this is about Amina, who is a retired pirate, and she and her mother and her daughter all live together in this house, and this woman arrives one day and promises Amina an obscene amount of money if Amina will find the woman's granddaughter. And so it's a get the gang back together again story. It's a pirate story, and I just absolutely adore everything Shannon Chakraborty writes. I will read anything she writes, and I basically have given every single book she's written 5 stars. So, all right, now this should go pretty quick. Now we have some really weird combos. Okay, so we're gonna go back over Bitter Medicine versus Evelise Explains It All. I think Evelise Explains It All is the winner, because as good as Bitter Medicine is, it is kind of long, and there are parts where I did feel like it dragged just a little bit, where the pacing wasn't matched the whole time. Whereas Evelise Explains It All, like, I have zero critiques, zero criticisms. It's a perfect book. So it moves forward. Oh, okay, now we have The Vanished Birds versus Stolen Focus. I don't know. I really liked both of these for very different reasons. I think actually I'm going to move Stolen Focus forward, because I think the likelihood that I will reread Stolen Focus at some point is higher than if I will reread The Vanished Birds. And my battery's about to die, so to be continued. Okay, so now we're into Vanderbeekers Ever After versus The Lies of the Ajungo. This feels so unfair. Middle grade versus adult fantasy. The end of a series versus the beginning of a series. How am I supposed to choose? Oh, this is going to be hard. Oh, because they both have very different vibes too. Where The Lies of the Ajungo is really survival, and about survival and oppression and colonization, and just like really tough themes. I mean, really and then The Vanderbeekers is warm and it has this really beautiful balance of hard topics, but surrounded in love and warmth, and at the end of the day, everything will be okay. And I mean, the only thing these two books have in common is that there is a child or multiple child main characters. I hate this. Why did I do this? Why did I think this would be fun? I don't know. Okay. It's not, I hear in my mouth. It's not the best book or the best written. It's my favorite. That's what this is. It's my favorite. So Okay, if we're just going based on the book and not based on my history with the book. So if I just look at the Vanderbeekers Ever After as just the Vanderbeekers Ever After and not whole freaking series, I think I'm going to move forward The Lies of the Ajungo. And I'm going to move it before I can overthink it. So that's the one that's moving on. Okay. We did it. Go us. All right. And then we have A Tempest at Sea and The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi. I mean, all due respect to Sherry Thomas, if A Tempest at Sea had been put against any other book in this bracket, it would probably have moved forward. But I just love Amina so much. And, you know, not all of Sherry Thomas's books have worked for me, but all of Shannon Chakraborty's books have worked for me. So, all right. Now we're into the final four. Let's see where we're at. Okay, so Evelise Explains It All versus Stolen Focus. Oh. This isn't fair either. I don't know. I've been saying they're very different books. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to move forward Stolen Focus because at the end of the day, it is the book that I talk about the most. And that I reference the most and I think about the most. Whereas Evelise Explains It All, I just don't find myself coming back to in the same way. So Stolen Focus is going to move forward. And then I'm so sorry, Amina. So sorry to The Lies of the Ajungo. I'm going to move forward Amina because obviously, and now we are really in trouble because these two could tie for my favorite book of 2023 because I love them equally. I was pretty equally obsessed with both of them while I was reading them. They're both really great on audio. Johan Hari reads his and has a great voice and a great style of speaking, and I really enjoyed it. And then it felt like a really long podcast episode, which is my favorite when a nonfiction book on audio reads like a really long podcast. That is my sweet spot. That makes me so happy every time. And then Amina is Amina. I mean, I don't know. That audiobook is excellent too because in Amina, she's telling the story of what happened to a scribe, but then every once in a while the scribe will interrupt and tell Amina she's doing it wrong or she's telling the story wrong or don't you want to tell it this way? And then she'll get sassy with the scribe and just the asides are so good and it's really engaging. And can we just call it a tie and end the video here? That'd be great. That would be awesome. I don't like this choice. You know what? I'm going to pick Amina. I am. I mean, did we see this coming? I think we saw this coming. I'm just going to make it really, really big. All right, there you go. Amina is my favorite book of 2023. Final decision. Final answer. This is it. Go away. I don't want that better. I mean, I just don't know how... I mean, I know this book is not everybody's jam, but I mean, really, if you want fantasy, if you want adventure, if you want like great found family, if you want a we're getting the gang all together again, if you want a quest, I mean, really, it's got everything. Everything. It's so good. I will hear no complaints about this book. Like, it's okay if you don't like it, but just don't tell me if you don't like it. Okay? Okay, cool. All right, so that is my bracket. And I like that my top, this really helped, like with my top, I guess 4. But if I was going to do top 3, I would probably do Evelise Explains It All would would be the one that I would pick. But yeah, yay! That was actually super helpful, if not really hard to pick one book. So thank you so much for watching with me today, friends. I hope this was fun or entertaining or something. If you've read any of these and they are also your top, like some of your 5-star reads for the year, I'd love to know. If any of these books sparked if you liked this book, you should read that book idea, and you have a recommendation for me, I would also love to know. I'm always looking to add to my TBR, sadly. And if you also love the adventures of Amina El Sarafi, I would love to talk about it with you in the comments. But again, don't tell me if you didn't like it, okay? I mean, I respect your opinion, but also I don't want that. I don't want to carry that with me today. If you have made it to the end of this video and you don't have anything to say, let's do an octopus emoji. Hold please while I double check that is in fact a thing. It is! Yay! Okay. So go ahead and leave an octopus emoji, and I will talk to you all in the next one. And thanks again to Meg for her video with this concept, because I think it's a really fun idea, and I loved watching her. So I hope you got the same amount of joy from watching mine that I got from watching hers. All right. Bye, friends.